we all knew that if he ever went over to any percent, he would get a very good record, a very good PB, and it turns out we were right.
Yeah. Oh, and it looks like they're playing the game. You probably know this game if you know this game for dashing, but during the prologue there is no dashing. So we're going to be seeing a lot of jumping instead, because it saves, I believe it's 2 frames per jump you do, which can save about a second or so throughout this entire prologue section.
Yep. Just a little minor thing.
Yeah. But at the end of this prologue, this bird teaches you how to dash, and so now they're going to be off on their journey. So are you ready for what I like to call speed tech speed round?
Are you with the Forsaken City, you mean?
This chapter we do a lot of stuff really quickly. And it looks like as we get into this, we're going to be pausing the buy for a few seconds to try and sync the 2 streams. There we go. That is probably good now. Yeah, there's a lot of things you might have noticed already. So there are hyper dashes where if you're dashing diagonally downwards and you do a dash and then kind of jump after the dash, you can carry a lot more speed than a normal dash. You're seeing also waves dashes and extended dashes, which are fairly similar. Wave dashes, you go on the air and then you go in the air and then dash down right onto a platform. And extended, you just stay on a platform long enough to get your dash back. Those can both be used in this, those are basically interchangeable, which is interesting. Then there's also bunny hops, which you can use to kind of keep your momentum after doing some sort of dash. And then there's also wall bounces you're seeing where you dash upwards against a wall and then wall jump, and it kind of gives your dash speed to the wall jump. And even at the end there, you see neutral jumping, where if you let go of any direction on your analog stick while jumping off a wall, you won't get bounced back as far, and you can use that to infinitely climb walls without using stamina. They're going on to the next chapter, and I'm still explaining things.
It's fine. But we do have Buhbai, who's actually has taken a lead due to just a couple mess ups by TGH. I believe he missed a wall bounce on a couple on one screen, and then probably another mistake somewhere else that I missed. But
wall bounces can be kind of tricky to land.
Yeah. And so here we are in Chapter 2. We got this main mechanic here with this dream blocks, main mechanic being chapter specific, really. Where you just dash through them and you get spit out on the other side of where with the direction that you dashed them in. And you can also jump out of them as soon as you exit them, along with hyper dashing as well.
We're already in battling.
Yeah, already in battling, but Buhbai actually taking a death there, allowing TGH to take the lead.
Yeah. So battling. I'm guessing a lot of people here might be here from Mario, so I'm going to give a quick reference to another Mario game. If you've ever played Super Mario Galaxy 2 and you remember the cosmic clones in some levels, which would basically chase you and copy your exact actions a few seconds behind what you would do, that's basically what battling is. Copies your exact inputs and movement with about a 3-second delay behind when you do them yourself. And it gets really interesting, because similar to some of the Cosmic Clone-based levels in that game, near the end of this battle and chase section, the game likes to make you kind of have to backtrack to hit some switches or do something like that. So it can become really tricky to dodge them, but if you're moving fast enough, you can dodge them. And we got some great sync going on.
Nicely done. So they are completely tied at the syncs right now.
Yeah, I think TGH's in-game timer is a little bit behind Buhbai's though. So it might be a tiny bit ahead.
Yeah, TGH would technically be ahead then. Getting tripped up in the awake section here, though.
Yeah, the awake section.
Yeah, this awake section, there's no real obstacles in the way, just the walls and just the corners and like the different elevations going on. But you want to keep your momentum going the whole way through. Otherwise, you'll just get kind of stopped immediately, and it's not good for your speedrun. You got to keep that momentum going throughout it. Momentum's a huge mechanic in this game.
Absolutely, and heading into Chapter 3, This game is actually a great speed game for many reasons, but what we didn't mention between all the fast-paced action and just gorgeous everything is that there's actually no luck in this game. Everything that you're going to see moving in this following section, you see these dust bunnies here. These things are all cycle-based. But that still makes this chapter very annoying because not only is there cycles when you enter the room, but when you die, the death cycle can be completely different from the entrance cycle. So you gotta kind of react if you don't know what you're doing. A lot of people will straight up just learn some rooms twice to get both cycles down. And I know some racers, although you don't usually see it on a higher level, but there are some people that I know that prefer to do some rooms straight up by resetting right at the beginning of them to get the death cycle.
Yeah, eventually at the higher level they adapted to not having to do that anymore. But for a long time, there actually even top level runners were still preferring death cycles on some screens.
Yeah.
Especially in this chapter here, where we have things on cycles with these moving enemies here that are known as the dust bunnies.
I mean, that's one thing I like about this game is that because of the way the game is kind of laid out with its kind of short screen nature type thing, there's really no strat that, at a high level, there's still a lot of stuff that you can do that might not be completely the fastest, might just be for convenience, and it's still, like, totally acceptable because deaths are very quick in this game. They're designed to be that way. You respawn very quickly, so something like an intentional retry to get a different cycle is not going to waste, like, barely that much time. But by getting a spike jump there, very nice.
Given that we go by in-game time, it's actually pretty hard to consistently keep the stream synced, so you have to bear with that. But here we are in what's known as the Big Mess section, where you have to go through 3 side sections in any order you want, but we go through in a certain order because of the way where it spits us out is where Oshiro, this hotel worker ghost thing that we're talking to at the end, we have to talk to in order to trigger the next part of the level. So we go boxes, then books, and then towels.
Yeah.
Cleaning up the hotel for Oshiro here.
And I mentioned it, but I never explained it, so I might take some time here to explain it while we're in this last towel section with Buhbai and Tej. So a spike jump is, there's the way that corners work in this game is there actually is a little bit of space where, say you're walking and there's a ceiling above you that's about to disappear. So there's a corner facing down left when you're moving left. There's still a small area where you can wall jump off of that wall, even though you're moving towards the wall. And spikes have a hitbox where if you're moving away from spikes, they will not hurt you. So if those spikes are pointing to the left and you're moving to the left, they won't hit you, and you can use it to jump off that wall with that specific positioning and skip that one room.
And yeah, that was in the first section, the boxes section, which is where there's a spike jump. We'll have another one a bit later that you can see it.
Yeah, I'll mention that when it happens. But for now, both of them made it through the huge mess. Going through the elevator shaft right now, an unfortunate death from Buhbai right there, putting Tej in the lead, but they're still both going very quickly. And there was a retry. And there was another retry. So we mentioned retries earlier, and intentional retries. That was an intentional retry actually because keys, like for doors, will stay with you even if you die once you've collected them. So retrying at the end of that screen where the key is, it's just faster to get it back to where you need to open the door.
Right, what about the keys that aren't for doors?
Those don't exist in this game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But what does exist in this game is Oshiro killing you.
Yeah, so we got a charging Oshiro. He got very mad because we're now leaving the hotel. We didn't want to stay there. So Oshiro is now charging at us with a lightning bolt to warn us before he charges across the screen. Yeah. It's in set intervals and it resets at the beginning of each screen, but there are some large screens here.
Yeah, some very large. Especially that ending screen is very large and very threatening because if you die at one point on the screen, back to the beginning. There are very few screens in this game that actually do have mid-screen checkpoints, but you don't see one of those until Chapter 4. And the one in Chapter 4 is really questionable about why it's a mid-screen checkpoint, but hopefully you won't see that checkpoint be used in the upcoming Golden Ridge.
Looks we got 10 bits from Delta. Thank you for that. So yeah, moving on to Golden Ridge, we got some wind pushing us in this one, and we also have these clouds, which are trampolines, because that's what clouds do in real life, right? And we also got
Yeah,
these
they do.
Yeah. And we got bubbles here where you dash into them, or actually just jump into them, and they will move for a length of a dash and not spend a dash.
Yeah,
and
so you'll
will
get
move
your
in any
dash
of the 8 directions.
And that's actually true for a lot of the mechanics where you do something like that, like the bubbles and the dream blocks from back in Old Site, is they'll give you your dash back once you exit them.
Yeah, pretty much a good amount of things. Springboards, these bubbles, the dream blocks, and these clouds as well.
Yeah. And coming up here, for those who didn't understand while I explained it way late, there's the second spike jump for TGH, and buhbai's also heading up on it.
And the spike jumps only get harder, actually. That one is a little bit more difficult than the one that we had in Chapter 3.
A lot of people
earlier.
say that. I kind of disagree.
Okay, we're gonna have a small auto-scroller skip here by TGH there. Hyperdash into bunny hop, into bunny hop, and then being able to get over to that area a bit earlier than needed, than what they want you to do.
Yeah, they want you to ride that block the whole way, but using it, you can get enough momentum from about halfway through the screen to skip over second half. And apparently we I'd like to thank someone for a $5 donation. Their name is Boobs. That's all. I just thought it was good to mention that. Well, they're both in an auto-scroller right now. So thank you for that, but now we're out of the auto-scroller and we're heading up on a very kind of infamous section in speedrunning this level, which is going to be the cliff face. Where the winds are going to get so harsh that you basically need to be doing some sort of dash and able to move forward at all. And that can kind of mess up with your movement if your dashes aren't perfect, and it especially doesn't help when the snowballs get thrown in. The snowballs are very similar to a Shiro, kind of track your height to try and hit you.
No warning, slightly slower movement than a Shiro, come from the right side of the screen. You can still bop on them.
And I think they come out a little bit faster per snowball compared to a Shiro dash.
Yeah, the interval between each snowball is closer together.
Yeah.
TGH on the final screen here as the wind is pushing you forward now.
Yep, and buhbai about to head onto that screen as Tej finishes the chapter.
And we're starting off into the Mirror Temple, which is a lot of people's fan favorite level. It's very good music, just cool aesthetic going on here. First thing you're going to see are these dash blocks, which move to the end of their track when you dash, and then slowly move back. And then we have these red bubbles, which are similar to the normal bubbles in Golden Ridge, except they will go on until they hit a wall, or you dash out of them. If you dash out of them, obviously you've spent your dash, so that is gone until you land.
Yes.
Regain it from other methods.
Yeah, and what you're going to see buhbai about to do that TGH did to get this key a little early is going to use this block, actually, to pull off a wave dash and get through those spikes. I think TGH did a reverse, where you kind of turn around, and then, so as to not get hit by, say, a spike or a wall.
Right.
And then turn around again to actually move in the direction you want to dash in.
Right, and TGH, I was using the momentum of the dash block at one point there to attempt to have a lot of momentum going into the next screen so that you could save a couple seconds. I believe did buhbai go for it there just then?
buhbai went for it, didn't get enough speed on the second screen, but buhbai is going for double bubble skip.
Ooh, this is very hard. There's an extended hyper dash, which means a hyper dash where you delay the jump a bit so that you can get your dash back. And then into a corner boost, which is another mechanic where you can I believe it's 3 pixels of the top of the wall. If you grab it while going past it, you will get a boost through the corner. Basically, you'll just like go up and over it really fast and maintain the momentum.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see because it's a very risky thing to go for. I got it very quickly though, so very nice. And now they're both into the Seeker section. So the Seeker that you see buhbai just finished playing as. Very soon for TGH here, the Seeker is about to be an enemy that will track your exact position and then try and dash at it. And it will hurt you, so you want to avoid it, but you can manipulate it by moving in the specific way to hit the keys in these screens, these little kind of locks or switches or whatever you want to call them that will open the door once you hit all of them. So,
yeah, but they also can charge into these red blocks and destroy them for you.
Yeah, what you're going to see, the explosion that when one respawns after you jump on it can also be used to do those same things with a larger radius, like you saw jumping on that TGH on that last screen, jumping on that Seeker to destroy that red wall.
And keep in mind, just because we are manipulating these Seekers this much, it does not mean that they are by any means a joke of an enemy. They are very difficult, as buhbai ends up getting killed by one of them just then.
Yeah, right at the end of the unraveling section, which TGH is in the next section, which is the search section, where you saw Search skip. In Search, you're supposed to get 2 keys to unlock 2 doors, so that you can ride a red bubble over a lot of spikes. And with a well-timed reverse hyper, or we might see a different set of movements from buhbai involving some sort of bunny hop. I'm not 100% sure the newer, scarier, harder method, but just went for the reverse. With a reverse extended or reverse wave, which we saw from buhbai, which is really interesting. You can get over those spikes without the red bubble, skip the 2 keys. It's really just a good thing.
Yeah, we have some fun names for things. Yeah, reverse extended hyper. Just meaning you're going in the opposite direction of the hyper that you're doing.
Yes.
You can still switch the momentum of it.
Yeah.
With some quick move direction changes.
Well, we can't switch, however, switch Theo out of the game.
Nope, and some people would like to, because Theo's action can be very punishing. When you pick Theo up, you cannot dash. Your movement is kind of like heavy movement. You move a bit slower, you can't jump as high. And but when you pick him up, you can pick him up pretty much at any point when you pass by him. It's very easy to pick him up. And your momentum when you pick them up is maintained through it, so that you're able to just keep flying, potentially. Pick them up, get them during a hyper dash, there you go, you get a good amount of distance.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it gets crazy in this room where you pick them up after hyper dashing off of a dash block, and you just go flying. In fact, for those who didn't see it at SGDQ, the task can actually go fast enough off that dash block to fly through the spikes, because the camera hasn't loaded the spikes yet, but we can't do that as a human, unfortunately.
Yeah, you can get ahead of the camera, so that the spike does not have a hitbox yet. Moving into Chapter 6, Reflections for TGH. We got these feathers now that are best controlled with analog, actually. They have full 360-degree movement and a very quick lake skip going on there.
Yeah, lake skip. That saves like 5 seconds.
Yeah, not having to use Kevin Block, which is right there. Kevin Block named that after the sound designer who gave the sound effect for that the block, as you can hear it.
He did some really weird noise with his mouth, and then he was like, what if they go underwater? So there's a video of him making the sound of these blocks with dunking his head in a bucket of water.
Yes.
It's kind of crazy.
It's a very funny clip, and
it's
for a sound effect
and
it's for a sound effect that you have to literally go out of your way with the Kevin Block in order to actually even hear it. It wouldn't naturally happen, really.
Yeah, and there's buhbai's lake skip as TGH is heading here. So we mentioned between these 2 runners being also top 2 runners in all red berries. We mentioned those earlier, those collectible berries. This stage actually has none. And I don't know why that's related to the split paths, because I heard that there's actually a different reasoning other than this level has split paths, but this level has split paths where you can choose different paths to go on, and each path has a different screen.
Yeah, there's generally an agreed upon route to go through that is the quickest.
Yeah.
The task actually does go through a slightly different route than what the runners usually do.
And some runners even do a different route that's a little bit faster, but way more dangerous.
Yeah, it's a difference of like a second, and
Yeah, and TGH isn't doing it.
It can become a pretty like very exact movement in order to get those that second.
Yeah, absolutely. But some people like it. Some people find that room easier though. So, you know, it's always that's one thing about this game. You can use whatever strat you think works best for you, and sometimes that can make other things easier or harder than other things. It kind of makes the game hard to control what you know about it, but at the same time, that just inspires you to play it more, so you know what's best for you to get the best time possible.
Okay, 3 developer-intended shortcuts going on here. Oh, dying on the third one, ending up having to go through all 3 of them again. There is a checkpoint between the second and third hole here in these spikes.
Yeah, but TPH is not going for it. Getting the skip second try, as buhbai is at the last of the split path. Now you're going to see the upper path. This one is barely faster, even if your movement is like super good. Like that.
It was super good, but actually did mess up a little bit, getting bounced off to the left by one of those bumpers.
I didn't intentionally get dash back. I don't even know what that screen's supposed to look like, in all honesty. Cause
who knows? Well, we got the battling boost going on by TGH, using the momentum of the Kevin block. They do have an official in-game name, but I use Kevin block so much I don't even know it anymore.
I think it's crush blocks.
Okay, crush block. But yeah, using the momentum of those blocks, a wave dash and then into a bunny hop, which will, hyper dash into a bunny hop, which allows you to gain the momentum of the crush block twice, and then fly through that little narrow section into the cutscene really quick.
Yeah. And then you got your hey ya's in chat for the music here. Just normal TGH community thing.
Yeah, it's just a little thing with DJ.
But this fight is also a pretty big thing. Yeah. Basically, you're trying to reach battling, and every time you do, knock you back a little bit. Also, if you missed it, buhbai's about to do battling boost. Like that.
Nailed it.
Yep. But each time you get knocked back by battling, you'll actually get your dash back. So, one thing you'll see a lot of the time is you'll see as soon as you're trying to dash either into a certain platform or just straight up back to the ground. So a lot of times, immediately after a hit, you'll see some sort of downwards dash or downwards diagonal dash, just to get on the ground faster and get moving as quick as possible. Because a lot of our movement tech is a lot more ground-based than it is air-based. Like, you have to get on the ground to get the speed to use in the air.
It involves using a dash, and we need to be on the ground generally to get those dashes in certain positions.
Yes.
TGH moving on from into the second part here, where these blocks are now moving back and forth in cycles. And, you know, just like any other cycle-based thing, they are the same every time you enter a room, slightly different if you do the death cycle. And so, yeah, the music's also a bit glitchy here. There's a good distance between the two of them right now, but it's actually not too, it's not anything that can't be made up by buhbai.
Yeah, absolutely. And can't be made up by Summit, which is going to be the final chapter right after this.
Yeah, I've said before that pretty much any race of Celeste has less than a minute difference going into the final chapter, which is Summit.
Is game.
It could still be anybody's game at that point. And here at the end, we have made up with our friend Battleline, still named Battleline though, despite not being bad anymore. And now we have 2 dashes, so we are able to do all those movement techs that we've been doing throughout the game with 2 dashes. So twice the movement techs.
All right, but either way, TGH gonna start moving on to the final chapter here, the summit. Meanwhile, buhbai on going into the last screen of the battle and fight here, so doing pretty good. The summit, basically going to be a recap of every other chapter in the game before kind of getting to its own unique section. And it mixes in the fact that you now have 2 dashes, so going to be a lot more open hits and also going to have a lot more spikes on the ground. And you're going to have a lot more airtime overall in the chapter because that's what the chapter is designed for.
Yeah, at the end of each of these little sections here. So Summit has a little homage to each of the chapters preceding it, and at the end of each one, we have this little section where we go into the orbs, and Battle Line helps boost us up to the next section. So now we're in the 500-meter section, which is homage to the Forsaken City, first chapter. And we got the zippers here, which move they move to the end of the track once you stand or grab on them.
Yeah. We actually never use these like at all in chapter 1, in the actual chapter.
Very little, yeah.
But here, you kind of need more airtime, and moving blocks will give you momentum, which can make you move farther in the air. And
yeah, there's a lot of big gaps. Oh, going for a small trick, not able to get it there on TGH's side. But yeah, it's there's a lot more verticality to it, and also the large horizontal gaps as well make it so that you need to get that horizontal momentum very, very easily. And now on to the Dream Block section for 1,000 meters. As buhbai is moving through 500 meters.
Yep. So I guess this might have been fairly obvious, but I'm gonna bring it up just in case anyone's not sure. With all the mechanics that give you your dash back once you're done with them, like the dream blocks or the bubbles, once you have 2 dashes, they will reset you to double dash pink hair instead of 1 dash or whatever. So you get, hey, even more airtime. That's exactly what you want, right?
Absolutely. Okay, and now 1,500 meters, we got the hotel going on now. And
Dust bunny cycles too.
yes, dust bunny cycles and some very tight dust bunny cycles that you're trying to get through. Now having to deal with the death cycle here on the screen, so TGH had to wait a bit to get to a cycle he's comfortable with, and even then, still not finding it really.
Yeah.
So this can become pretty annoying, as you can see. Once you're on that death cycle, it's hard to get back onto the cycle that you were used to.
Yeah.
But now we have this room, which is very tight with hyper dashes if you're trying to do it as fast as possible. I think about a cycle behind on that last part there, though.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, ended up hyper dashing a bit differently, and ended up being a bit too low to get onto the pillar. So wave dash off of it.
A prominence of ultras in that room, but hypers in a lot of places. But that screen's just one of the crazier ones.
And now, 2,000 meter section for Golden Ridge, and buhbai is about to go into that triple ultra dash room over here.
Yep. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, looks like that was a perfect one.
Yeah, and Tej getting that barrier right there. Actually, still hasn't collected it, but going for auto scrolling skip here. Gonna do an extended there off of that block to reach this one, and then do a wall bounce off of a small bump downwards in the wall, getting it, and you can get up to the end of the screen without having to ride the block the whole time.
Yeah, remember this is a best of 3 race, so we still have at least one more race after this one.
Yeah, and that's You would have 2 if buhbai takes either of them. I should not be assuming anything.
Absolutely not.
You know what they say about assuming.
Stuff.
You need the letters in sue to spell it. And I don't want to get sued.
Yeah. Yeah, don't sue me.
I won't. I will,
But by doing here a more reliable, a little more reliable. Okay, not the wall bounce there was actually going a bit of a weird way of doing that first part of the screen there.
Yeah.
But able to get through it. Took a couple tries there. And on TGH's screen, we're gonna have key skip here, which is 2 neutral jumps. On the second neutral jump being just below where the hitbox exists on that wall, the spikes.
And you get a key, which
Yes,
allows you to open a door.
Which is why it's called key skip.
Yeah. And speaking of skips,
As you go threading the needle right there, we got this door skip, which is a 1 second time save, total of 1 second. It looks very cool though.
yeah,
So we have to do it every time. And it's no problem for TGH, of course.
but TGH exiting.
And yeah, now we are into the 3,000 meter section for TGH, which is these final 30 flags. Each of these flags counts as a checkpoint, as these are much longer screens, so these flags are what represents it for us at this time. Count down from 30 to 1, and that at 1 will be at the top. So if you want to count down, you feel free to, of course.
Yeah.
We got this downward wind going happening right now, which gives us that heavy mechanic of jumps not going as high.
More gravity.
Yeah, more gravity. Jumps not going as high, and you falling faster.
Yeah. It's kind of ruthless. I know a lot of people. I was recently in commentary on a different race with a good friend of mine, Flare Bear, who said that a lot of people actually seem to like that downward wind because you fall a lot faster, so you can kind of get to doing what you need to do a lot faster.
Well, now we're in the upward wind section where we have light gravity, and so fall slower and jump higher. And so that allows for them to get pretty creative with these sections and putting a lot of spikes and make it so that we have to do very specific paths.
Too many spikes. Turn down the spikes. I don't like the amount of spikes. Especially this.
So many spikes that we have to jump around some of them, like there, just the
Yeah.
little neutral jump going on.
Saves a tiny bit of time. Skipping a flag.
Yeah, just going onto that platform to regain the dashes, but does not trigger the 10th flag. You'll see that occasionally trigger skipping certain flags, like flag number 8 over there. It's a bit out of the way, so you just don't get it.
You also often see a skip for, I believe it's 17.
Yeah, there was, TGH did end up skipping that flag earlier.
Yeah. You usually see 17, 10, and 8 if you're going to see any flag skips.
Going through these last few sections here, I believe that was flag 3?
Yeah, this is in flag 3 right now. Meanwhile, buhbai is pretty good as well working on flag 13, which is kind of a notorious one for not being liked. Gets to 12 before accidentally hitting spikes though, so that's good. As TGH hits flag 1. It's almost at the top now.
Closing in on a good time, looks to be late 30-50. Or actually a 30-48, my mistakes here.
That's an amazing time. That's really good, actually. I think that's better than buhbai's PB, even.
It is. buhbai has a 30-53, I believe.
I think it's either 53 or 56.
Yeah.
56 sounds right.
So yeah, just stunting on buhbai over here, showing that TGH can consistently get PBs that no one has yet to hit.
Yeah. But, I mean, buhbai is going to be still coming in with a super respectable time here. Heading into flag 3.
And there's flag 2, not triggering it, able to jump around it. So,
What a legend.
What a legend. Gotta be very careful here, though. It's still
it's
still possible to die on flag 2.
It is definitely very possible to die on flag 2. Especially that ending part of the flag has some stamina management that can be rather tricky to do. But got through the flag, finishes 32-17 final time for buhbai, which is amazing. 2 really good times to see in a race here.
And we get to see this little epilogue screen here.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to see their deaths on it as well.
What are those numbers? I can't see it too well.
Yeah, let me go look at it on the stream.
Yeah.
We got 11 deaths for TGH and 34 for buhbai.
34 and still got a 22. Or 32. That's kind of insane.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, yeah, so we actually have, we're gonna have now TGH and buhbai joining us to, buhbai does not have a microphone, unfortunately, but he can still talk to us a bit, I guess. But
Yeah,
we have TGH here.
Text.
Yeah.
What's up, guys?
That was crazy.
Yeah, fun race.
Simply put.
Yeah, it was a solid run. It was yeah, a little bit up and down, especially near the end, but it was okay.
I mean,
It's definitely one that I'm proud of in a race setting for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm a broken record here. Summit is always going to be an up and down.
Yeah.
Every time you can never have that summit that you always want. It's one of the craziest levels. It's the longest, so it's obviously the one where anything can happen.
Yeah, I noticed you were also having a bit of a shaky start in chapter 1, but you were able to keep it going afterwards.
My chapter 1 is pretty solid. Chapter two was a little bit shaky. Like, I mean, it was a 149, so like I think I had 104, 149.
I wasn't necessarily going by final times. It was a couple wall bounces actually allowed buhbai to have the lead after chapter 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if anything showed shakiness, it was probably your chapter 2 awake. I was kind of concerned.
Yeah, I missed that one ultra, and it like if you miss that ultra, that costs a lot of time. But yeah, that's.
Yeah. I mean, Awake's one of the craziest parts. It's straight up just movement intense.
It's sneaky, yeah. It's sneaky, like it's sneaky technical is what it is. It's like one of the hardest parts of the game to actually move cleanly through, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
But yeah, GG to buhbai as well. That was a great race. Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, we still got potentially one. We still got one, maybe two, if buhbai is able to pull it out here.
I think what's happening actually is due to time slots on the channel, trying to keep stuff good and have content going the whole time, we might be actually even doing a game 3, even if we do see a 2-0, just to kind of fill time. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, that'd be hype.
Definitely.
If we really hurry up in game 2, we can do an ARB for the third match.
Yeah.
All right, go for it. Go. I want to see that.
Yeah, I was saying move forward. That's a tight category between you two as well.
You'd leave me clueless if we were doing ARB. I do not know anything about ARB.
All right, I'm gonna leave now.
All right, good luck on your second race.
Yeah, good luck.
All right, thanks guys. Enjoy.
And good luck to buhbai as well. He's been saying some things to us in this chat that we have here. So. And now showing a lot of love for ARB in the chat.
I actually kind of prefer all hearts.
Okay, we're setting up for this second part of the any percent race here. Again, very close to being to starting up and having these ready to go. These racers ready to go.
And before we get started, I'd like to thank the Crushing Hammer for donating $25 with a comment of GG.
And thank you for that.
And fun fact, Tool Assisted Speedrun, speaking of $25, Tool Assisted Speedrun has 25-minute time, so obviously we should get it human.
Yeah.
How it works.
Yeah. I mean, like everyone can water boost, getting those those jump inputs in at 60 hertz.
You can't mash 30 hertz. What are you doing?
Yeah. What? Yeah. Sorry, 30 hertz. Yeah. How? I don't understand how I can't mash the jump button at 30 hertz. You know, some people are.
Come on.
Personally, I'm a bit disappointed that we don't have players naming their characters here. We're just going with the base name of Madeline. Still a great name. Madeline is being the main character in this story. Celeste being the mountain that we are climbing.
What? I thought it was the opposite.
Yeah, the girl's name is Celeste. Actually, you're right. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's just like, you know, Legend of Zelda. You're the main character is Zelda, and the princess is Link. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it works. So it's named. Why would it be named Legend of Zelda if you're not playing as Zelda?
It's
okay.
Like how... Never mind. Alright, we're back to something.
Hey,
you
look.
Like that dashing action from the past half hour? Well, we can't dash for another 40 seconds, so...
Yeah. Back to the prologue where we just jump for a bunch of times. Yeah, the main character is Metroid.
Why can't Metroid crawl? Why not? I just want to know. Why can't Madeline? Okay, never mind. Madeline can dash. I'm wrong. Hello. Hello from Wrongville. But hey, we're now into Chapter 1 again, so we can dash again. Isn't that exciting?
Absolutely. And so going into the Forsaken City, as we have said, it's an introduction of all these different dash strats. And now that we have had our game one, we don't have to actually go into any explanations again. So that's pretty interesting. We can just focus on the gameplay here. And yes, we got ball bounces happening.
Yep. A lot of the clean movements here. That reverse always scares me. I don't know why. But that specific one, I think it's because I always mess it up personally, so I'm like, everyone's gonna mess it up, right? But no, it turns out that I'm just really bad. Reverses are actually kind of tricky because, I don't know, maybe I mean, I don't know. It shouldn't be too tricky, but I just kind of don't have very fast hands. Ooh,
Yeah,
that's an unfortunate death there.
Yeah, this room is kind of difficult with managing your stamina. And taking advantage of the hitboxes there, of the walls, you're just, you know, the hitboxes for the spikes are very small. Like, they are the spikes that you see pretty much. So you're able to hit the wall just above it in order to do a wall jump.
Yeah. And I guess I'm actually going to drop a hot fact about Forsaken City, even though we're already into Old Site. If you, after the prologue, still are not fond of the concept of dashing, Forsaken City is actually entirely completable without dashing a single time. Old Site is actually the first chapter where a dash is required, because you're required to dash into dream blocks to use them.
Yep. And one thing is mentioned is during that skip cutscene that they did, they are skip cutscene higher than where you would be on the ground, and you keep that vertical position. So you just get moved a bit to the right horizontally, and you're inside the dream block after you skip the cutscene.
Yep. There's also a strat that I've seen like one person besides the task do in chapter 5.
Yeah,
where
similar.
you skip a cutscene and hit a switch.
Yeah, similar idea. You can keep the vertical position there and end up where the switch is.
That Jack comes by here. This is the longest screen in chapter 2.
Yep. The last screen of each chapter tends to be the longest one.
Yeah.
I was in trouble picking up that last coin over there, and as TJH is now in the final section, before he goes into the Awake section of Old Site.
Yep, and bye-bye. Hot on TGH's tail here, just a tiny bit behind. And
yeah, just a Bye-bye actually not taking the best route here with this the Awake section, ending up having to dash upwards in certain locations instead of downward diagonally.
yeah. But both of them are out of the chapter, heading into Celestial Resort, where dreams go to die. I feel like I had a joke to make about Cycle's last race, but I forgot it for now. Oh well.
Lori forgetting jokes. The cycle continues.
I'm stuck another 2 races with this person. We're in the hotel now. Both in there at the same time. Jeez, this is staying close.
Yes, it is. The two of them on the same screens right now.
Yeah, this is absolutely crazy. Oh, I think that was...
Not getting the extended hyper there on TJH's side, so having to reset or retry the game, that screen rather.
Yeah, and speaking of retries, because what I thought happened, even though it was not actually what happened, I guess I should talk about this. When you skip cutscenes, or when you're in a cutscene, where the skip cutscene button is in the menu is the same place as where the retry button is in normal gameplay. So if you think you're in a cutscene and you're not, and you try and skip the cutscene, you can die and get sent back to the beginning of the room.
Yeah, that is that could be that exists all the way through the end of the run. There is one even at flag 1 at the summit, and if you hit retry in the middle of flag 1 instead of waiting for the skip cutscene, that is known as pulling a revo for Revolution, who's the one who is pretty who has quite a tendency to accidentally do that.
Absolutely. Revo is another top 5 player. I think maybe, I don't know if top 3, because I think Blood Derby might have gotten a top 3 PB recently, but I don't remember.
Buhbai pulling off that spike jump, and now there's TGH pulling it off there as well. And yeah, this is a very fun game to play. Everyone should play it. It's good, good game. Good game. And a bunch of secrets that we are not even addressing in this any % run.
Yeah. Including hearts. We've seen a lot of talk about some red berries in chat, but we've not seen a lot of talk about hearts. Another type of secret in this game are these crystal hearts that you can get. There's one hidden in each chapter, and each chapter also has a hidden alternative version that are B-sides and basically kind of a cassette type theme there. And even post-game, there are secret C-sides you can unlock, and each of those will give you a heart as well as a hidden heart in a normal chapter. And that also leads to not only A or B as well as any %, but there's also all hearts, which is getting 100%, which is kind of a combination of all red berries and all hearts.
Yes, and this is one of the chapters where you can actually see a heart in plain sight during one of the screens, but it is completely out of your reach, and you got to figure out how to get to it.
Yeah, this is actually the chapter where I learned that hearts were in the game, and I spent a while on the first 2 chapters. But
yeah, each level has the heart and a cassette, the A sides. Every side has a heart.
Yes. Which also leads to the best category, all A sides. No, I'm gonna stop that joke.
Hey, you don't like core?
I mean, core is fun, but I just think the category itself is kind of silly because core is literally like basically the only new addition in that category. And I guess I should mention, if we're talking about extra stuff in the game, there is actually a post-game level, which is the core, where it's a secret level. And you go inside the mountain.
Yeah, it's actually got a very interesting mechanic in that you don't regain your dash in any way other than these dash crystals or by screen transitions. So that is also a thing that you start to realize as you're playing the game, is that you regain any dashes in a screen during a screen transition, even if you are in mid-air when you go to the next screen.
Mm-hmm. I actually see that at the beginning of this chapter that they're in right now, to reach a key in an unintended way. But I mean, I guess intended, but without the use of some jumps. Looks like Bai had a bit of a problem with this Ashiro section, so TGH is going to be taking the lead on exiting the chapter.
Bai taking another death. Yeah, this longest screen here, getting hit at the end, sends you back pretty far because it is that one long screen where there are checkpoints only at the beginning of it. And yeah, now seems to be a little bit tilted by this, and has to just go through it calmly.
Yeah.
Believe in you, Buhbai.
I know Buhbai likes their berries.
Yes, they do.
Yep. And TGH now working through Golden Ridge. Doing very nice work, moving all over the clouds and the platforms and the wind and the everything.
And yeah, this ain't over. We still got a bunch of different tricks that have to happen, and they aren't always the easiest tricks. So things can happen that players mess up, and we end up getting lead changes. The smallest mistakes can end up with a lead change. And we still have about halfway to go, more than halfway to go. in this race.
Mm-hmm.
The final chapter being about 9 minutes of the entire speedrun.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people like to say 1/3. 1/3 is a little bit too much, but it's definitely a lot of the run. It's probably 2/5 if anything. Hit that nice 40%. And by making that same exact save in both races, oh, going for lockless skip here.
Oh,
it's an incredibly difficult thing to do.
Yeah, wants to show it off, is not able to get it, and so now is going into the normal way of doing this auto-scroller. So yeah, you're using the momentum of the directional block in order to get over there, but you're able to do it without using the momentum of the directional block if you use very specific inputs, but it's much more precise.
Yes. And TGH and Cliffface now.
I was just gonna say, I think it's buhbai is trying to do some riskier tactics in order to gain ground, knowing that TGH can be very consistent with his movement, so that they're trying to use little things that TGH might not try in a race scenario and hoping to get them, so that
absolutely.
you can gain that ground.
And TGH onto the last screen as buhbai is about to enter the cliff face. So, still has a bit of ground to make up between himself and TGH, but buhbai definitely moving quickly.
Yeah, so you're trying to get just ahead of this directional block. The intended way is to actually hit to wall grab on the back side of it, but of course if we're on the one that is on the wall that is further to the right, we can get to the other side of the screen faster. So you can beat that block and get to it before it passes you.
Yep, and we have buhbai heading into the last 3 screens of Golden Ridge as TGH is in that temple beginning. You see the skip there, jumping over the spikes to get this key early. And alright, now buhbai is going to be entering the next chapter with TGH going through. We'll see this. I don't know if either of them got this last race. With some, okay, nope. If you get, that was still very nice speed, but if you get good enough with your jumps and your speed, you can actually skip that second room right there. And TGH going and getting second try double bubble skip, very nice.
Fun to see tricks like that being able to be pulled off very in quick succession. The exact reasoning behind calling it Hamlet skip.
The original thing was when double bubble skip was found, the person who found it wanted to name it. They wanted to make a joke off of double toil and trouble by with double bubble toil and trouble and name it after the quote. So they named it Hamlet skip. However, the problem is double toil and trouble is from Macbeth and not Hamlet.
Yeah, know your Shakespeare.
So, oh geez, TGH getting a really specific death there. I'm going for a really risky strat.
So I'd go by double bubble skip because it just makes more sense. And you don't have to go through this giant explanation of why is it called Hamlet skip?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I think the reasoning is really funny. I just call it double bubble because it makes 100% more sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and apparently, while I was too busy laughing, buhbai got it first try. Yeah, I guess it started as kind of ironic name. as a replacement for Double Bubble, and then it kind of caught on. TGH wanting the Seeker to charge the red wall, but accidentally jumping on it.
Well, he ended up explaining it because someone asked.
That's true. I don't think anyone asked. I just want to explain it. I'm just kidding. Someone did ask. Never mind. Don't listen to me. What is easy to name is Search Skip, because that skips a lot of search checkpoint, and TGH did it fairly quickly. That's actually, despite being probably one of the biggest things this has in terms of like actual skips, it's actually fairly easy to learn. So that's definitely something, if you want to get into that game, you might want to focus on as soon as you get to this point in the run.
Yeah, there are a few skips in this game that use different advanced movement tech, and I kind of call them the necessary strategies that you need to learn, and search skip being one of them. Otherwise, you are losing about 2 minutes, 2 to 4 minutes, really, depending on how well you can get those keys.
Well, technically, you can lose infinite time if you die like 80 times, but
yeah, of course.
I don't know why my limit is 80, but
It's the number that you get to before you're just like, I'm gonna uninstall this game.
basically.
Like 80 deaths, just getting 2 keys in Mirror Temple. That would make me very angry.
It's been way too long since I've done those screens.
Anyway, yeah, final screen for a Theo section for TGH as Buhbai is just starting it out.
Pausing there, dash through the shockwaves so you don't get pushed back because you're dashing through the shockwaves, and finishing the chapter faster. Buhbai making nice progress here on Theo.
Yeah, something I also should mention is that there is no movement speed cap at any part of this game.
Yep.
So, able to keep that momentum and continuously build your momentum to fly across the screen, which is why TAS is able to do what they do when we talked about it last time.
I wonder how it must have felt to TAS the perfect feather angles. I don't know. TGH doesn't have to worry about that first feather section, though. Lake skip, easy. It's not actually as easy as it looks.
So yeah, it's just a very nice little section here at the bottom of the mountain that we are at now, in Reflection. Got these feathers. This very nice music I got here. Just like every chapter, all the good music. And if you want to hear even better music, go to the B-sides where each level's music is remixed.
There are a lot of wars about the best B-side music. I don't want to get into that.
I'm sure the chat is already there.
Okay, well now... Whatever. But yeah, so...
Okay, moving into these different branching paths here.
TGH already most of the way through the branching paths.
Yeah, we also didn't really say much about the pinball bumpers. It's pretty simple. They're bumpers that work like they would in pinball.
You gotta play pinball. One, I'm confused. Two, basically, imagine jumping on a trampoline. Yeah, that. Except you can hit it from a lot of different directions more than just with your feet.
Oh, TGH is trying to do a bit of a trick there. The task actually does it as well. You don't pick up this final feather. You just kind of dash into the bumpers to gain some ground. But that's a tight movement, and so I just tried for it once and then didn't do it.
Yeah.
And now TGH moving into these few final screens before we go on to the battling section. Oh, accidentally not quite setting up this first dev intended hole, and now is able to get through all 3 holes on the basically first try.
TGH coming up on Battle and Boost here. Or as I saw from a chat name earlier, remember to hit the pause button before you land in the spike so you don't die skip. TGH hitting a wall and accidentally retrying because thinking he was going to skip the cutscene, I guess.
Yeah, he thought he was further to the right in the screen than he was, because it's really just probably a muscle memory thing, because you understand the timing of when you should hit the cutscene, given that you do everything correctly.
Mm-hmm. Now more hey-yachting.
They're very important, and it shows your love for TGH.
And also the music. The music's great.
Yeah, it's really good music too.
Yeah, and buhbai's about to hear it soon. Headed into the Battle and Boost screen.
I do really like these sections where you have to hit battle line multiple times before it moves on to the next part of the screen. Allows for some pretty cool, pretty creative level design on these screens.
Absolutely.
And now TGH about to go into the second half of this battle line fight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, buhbai doing a featherless strat over there. That was very impressive to see.
Absolutely.
Not something that is done very frequently, but able to get that done. Showing off little things here and there, because he can.
Working through these last couple screens of the level.
Yeah, this very long screen that we have here at the end of this chapter.
Yeah.
Chapter 6.
And finishing up the chapters, buhbai's going to be hitting the remix. So that is a decent amount of lead for TGH entering the summit. Not a lead that can't be changed with a few bad deaths on his end, but definitely a lead that might be hard for buhbai to come back from.
Yeah, it's something that's definitely will be quite a hard lead to lose by TGH.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically TGH's run to lose here at this point. If he messes up, like he's got to make sure that he doesn't do any mess ups. It's not really anything that buhbai has control over right now.
Yeah, I mean buhbai can keep playing their best and hopefully might be able to get the screens right that TGH could possibly mess up on, but as I said, it's going to take quite a deterrence, I think, at this point for buhbai to be able to take the lead. Because TGH already being in 500, well, buhbai's entering this row is quite a decent lead for TGH. By just now entering Summit.
Also noticing a difference in in-game timers as well.
Yeah.
So that right there is gonna put in a gap, add another part to the gap there. Getting that very precise upward diagonal dash in order to grab the bottom of that zipper to trigger it before getting the orb. That is actually a very precise dash.
Both of them doing really good on their respective sections right now, with TGH near the end of 1,000 and buhbai nearing kind of that midway point of 500. I always lose track of where things are in 500. I mean, it's like each section in the Summit is fairly short, so it's not like can really keep track of where you are in a Summit section too much. But buhbai makes it onto 1,000 after TGH is already into 1,500, so still going pretty quickly, but TG is in a commanding position right now.
1,500 meters still being probably the hardest section of the Summit, so
They're all the hardest.
yeah, but able to do that triple hyper ultra dash room, no problem.
Ooh.
And now having to deal with the death cycle of this room.
Yeah, gets through it, so no need to worry.
Looks like he actually was very familiar with that backup.
This is a room that is easy to die on, so understandable. If that's a death cycle you're familiar with. Headed on to 2,000 now is buhbai is going to be entering the last screen of 1,000. Yep. So yeah, for the one confused in chat, it is pronounced buhbai. So, just for that clearance sake.
And here we have, and so yeah, we have buhbai going through 1,500
Please.
meters now.
Please. Tej?
What? I don't know what's wrong. What's wrong?
Nothing.
Okay.
Tej getting that little mini auto-scroller skip after getting the bigger auto-scroller skip.
So, yeah, TGH now moving out of the 2,000 meter section as buhbai has just pretty much just started it. And now TGH in 2,500 meters. Where it can be, have some fun movement going on here. Dashing out of the bubble before the next screen.
buhbai dying right at the end of this kind of long screen.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Regaining the dash by bopping down onto the snowball, because didn't quite get enough vertical distance there. TGH getting an easy key skip. Easy every time.
Easy.
And everyone loves door skip, but I like to talk about the threading the needle over here. That is a very small. Yeah, it's a very small hitbox area to get through.
I go for door skip more than I go for threading the needle.
Yeah.
Alright, looks like TGH is going to be entering our final section, 3000 here. So very close to being finished. Oh, bye-bye with a really scary-looking save to enter 2500.
Also, walls. So there's walls that exist on the right side of the screen that are covered by clouds that we're able to wall bounce off of.
Oh,
So
yeah,
just a little thing of knowing where the walls are. Not getting the wall bounce here, so opting to do a slightly different strategy on the third try there. Knowing, yeah,
continuing to breathe through this section.
You didn't just say that.
That was not intended.
Sure.
I did not intend to pun there.
Well, you did. It's too late. You can't take it back.
Alright.
And now the chat is just filled with numbers.
Yeah, as Babai gets that threading the needle and then immediately door skip. Alright, and... Alright. TGA's coming up with the final 10 here.
Yep, able to skip flag number 10.
Yeah.
And now move on to number 9, and then able to skip flag number 8.
Some people like to skip flag number 9. I think they're crazy.
It's just fun.
Absolutely.
See how many flags you can skip.
Too many.
And it's actually impossible to skip every flag in this section because there are certain things like right there where you are automatically given that flag after being thrown up by Battlein in the orb.
And now TGH, after riding this feather, is going to be on the final 3. Taking a death right at the beginning of it. Better to take the beginning at it earlier in the checkpoint than later. Those. Just gotta get up this section. The ending portion is actually kind of notorious because if you're not careful with your stamina, you can run out of wall climb right there, right when you need it most, at the end of the checkpoint, and not be able to make it to checkpoint 1, where TGH is now going to finish up with a 3108 or 09.
That is an 09. That is a 9.
So GG's to TGH, taking the victory in the best of 3. With Babai now coming up on the final 10 flags of Summit.
Yeah, still rooting for Babai. This is still a very good run by Babai. Not as consistent as getting those 30-minute runs yet. So this is still something that to be very proud of.
Absolutely. Heading up to the final 6 now. On the last 3, getting some nice dashes there. That diagonal is very smooth looking when it's done right. And grabbing these crystals, getting this here. And now flag 1, just need to climb up and be finished with the game.
Don't die, don't accidentally hit retry.
Did not do either of those things.
And well done with that then. Getting a 33:07.
That's a very good time as well.
Mm-hmm. These are times that are still very difficult to get by any runner.
Absolutely.
Getting a sub 35 pretty much puts you in like the ranking of being respected by TGH.
I mean, I don't know. TGH thinks you're cool, and do you even play this game?
I play it. I know it. I watch him. I don't know how to speedrun this game. It's a hard game. So now we'll probably have TGH and Bye-Bye come in here. Once again, it'll be just TGH talking to us, but we'll have Bye-Bye in chat with us for so we'll be able to say anything that he wants to say for him.
Yep. And here's TGH once again. Hello there.
Yo, what's up?
Good job on another really good time.
Thanks. Yeah, again, just like, solid. I went for a couple more optimal strats. I don't know if it was noticeable, but
You did DBS, which is noticeable when you're looking at someone who's doing it and someone who's not doing it.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like I base my routing meaning like, the set of strats I use for each room on like, consistency and like the percentages I have to do them correctly. And when I try to mix in strats that like don't quite fit in with that route, it doesn't very go wow. Nice English teach. It doesn't go very well very often, but
yeah. And I also see you mentioning in chat that you and I had noticed it too, that you went for the bumper strategy in the big feather room and reflection.
Yeah. Yeah, that strat honestly is kind of a meme. Ben Teasy showed me that strat where you like bounce off the bumper, but I don't know. I think what happened was I was actually, this is gonna sound kind of weird, like I'm not trying to boast or anything, but I think my feather movement was actually too clean, and the bumper actually caught me like on its way down. But yeah, it was, and then like just launched me up to the spikes. And it was GG. But yeah, it was. It's fun to go for that strat every now and again, like on dead runs or something. But yeah, it kind of burned me this time.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I feel, were there anything that you can really think of that resulted in you ending up with a 31 this time around?
Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
Well, I know that you are pretty much getting consistently at the 30-minute mark. So what any sort of particular points that ended up getting you to the 31-minute mark this time around?
No, I mean, like, it's just I think in the end, movement prevails overall, and regardless, sometimes like I died 17 times in this run, and or 15 in, actually no, 14 because I did DBS, 14 unintentional. But like if you have good enough movement, you can like pretty much power through that and get a 31 or 32 or whatever, despite dying. And it didn't hurt that I think most of my deaths this run weren't very costly. And a lot of them were in resort as well. And a lot of them were in summit, were just like quick deaths, but it is what it is.
Yeah, still a very good showing of the game from both runners here.
Yeah, we're happy to showcase this on, like, obviously it's an awesome speed game, and I can at least speak for myself when I say that I'm really happy that we're able to showcase it here.
Yeah, both of these runners have worked very hard to get their times down to where they are.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for commentating, by the way. I know it was kind of last minute, but
no problem.
Yeah, no problem. I really enjoyed doing it. I feel kind of honored to be asked to do it.
Well,
okay.
Yeah, I did too. I got kind of surprised. I was like, whoa, okay, that's cool. But I enjoyed it a lot. I always enjoy commentating this game. I always enjoy commentating every game I always commentate, which is a video game.
Yeah, so thank you GSA for having us. You can follow these runners. The links have been dropped in chat at one point. I'm sure they'll be dropped again now that I'm saying this.
Maybe.
And maybe. And then
I
you
don't
can
think I can
follow
do
us
the
as
commands.
well, these commentators. Yeah, we don't know the commands as well.
No, I think they're. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
Whoever's
yeah,
on
there
the
they go.
account.
Okay, so yeah, thank you for joining us, and we'll be moving on. So